Hello, thanks for joining me today on Cooking Together. I hope that Izzy will join us in a little bit. She's getting ready. I wanted to do a healthy dessert today with strawberries. Strawberries are one of my favorite fruits, and I just like to eat them in the summertime because other times of year they just don't taste very good. They're kind of sour and underripe. But summertime to me says strawberries because when I was a little girl, all the way up till the present, whenever I'm visiting my parents, we go to a pick your own strawberry place in Connecticut, and it's super delicious and really, really fun to do that with the family. And we've been doing that, I think my mom could verify, since I was a baby. And we've done it almost every year. Some years I've gone too late in the summer and missed the berry picking. But it's a really, really special family thing that we like to do. And although strawberries are in season earlier in the year, they're still really good. The ones that I can get at the grocery store right now are really good. So I'm going to start holding these a little bit while I talk. This recipe is called Vegan Strawberry Panna Cotta, and I came up with it recently because I was actually going to teach a kids cooking class that was Italian, and I was going to do this recipe a little bit differently. It was going to be like a coconut milk panna cotta with a strawberry gel on top. But when I got to thinking about it, that's fun to do for a class, but if you're just going to be making this at home, having that many steps might be too daunting and maybe you wouldn't even try it. So I thought, why don't I make something that is much easier, and I'll kind of talk about some different substitutions you could make if you don't have all the ingredients that we have here today. But basically what you're going to need for this recipe are some really fresh ripe strawberries, about 1.5 cups to 2 cups. It's maybe about a half of one of those 1 pound packages. And then some soaked cashews. I used some roasted cashews because I didn't have any raw, but usually I like to use raw. But soak those for an hour at least in some hot water, or overnight in some room temperature water. And what I like to do is blend those with some almond milk to make it thicker and creamier. Another option that you could do is, instead of using the almond milk and the cashews, is you could use some full-fat coconut milk, pour it into your 2-cup measure, and then just add enough water to make it up to the 2-cup measure. So probably about 1/4 cup of water or so that you'll need to add. But I've made this with coconut milk, and it was super creamy and delicious as well. And besides that, to sweeten it, I'm using maple syrup, but you could use another kind of sweetener, vanilla, and then our 2 thickeners that we're going to use. In traditional panna cotta, you're making it with heavy cream usually, and gelatin that makes it, gel up and be the texture that it is. But this is going to be a vegan version, so I'm going to use Agar Powder, which comes in a little container like this. I got this online. This is the Now brand, which is what I recommend, and in my recipe I linked to it. I read a lot of reviews about Agar Powder, and that one had the best reviews in terms of not having any taste to it, not having any bitter aftertaste. And I'm going to slice these first. I used to use agar flakes for all of my gelled desserts, but this is getting increasingly hard to find locally, and it's really expensive. So I thought I would just try the agar powder. You typically need about 3 times as many flakes as you do the powder because the powder is more concentrated. And so the agar powder is actually going to gel the pudding, so it's more like a panna cotta, more like a custard. And then I thought I would add some kuzu, which is a root starch that actually has healing properties to it. It's healing for the intestines. It's alkaline forming because it's full of minerals. So it's very different than cornstarch, although you can use them interchangeably. But it will have the effect of giving a smooth texture, smooth and creamy and a little bit thicker texture to the dessert. If you don't have kuzu, you could use arrowroot, but I find arrowroot to be very sticky. So instead, you might want to just add a little bit more agar powder. So instead of 3/4 of a teaspoon, a full teaspoon. And since it's so strong at gelling, that should be plenty. And then just leave out the kuzu. So let's see. We're gonna be blending up these strawberries, so we don't really need to slice them actually. That'll skip a step. But I just kind of want to see about how many I have. I want to have about 1.5 cups. So that is probably enough right there. And so besides blending, we just have one other step in this recipe, which is to put about half of the milk. It doesn't have to be exact, but about 1 cup of the almond milk or whatever kind of milk you're using, and heat it up over about medium heat. And I guess I'm going to need a whisk. Add your agar powder. If you happen to be using agar flakes, you would have to let those dissolve for about 10-15 minutes on top of the liquid before you heat it up, because the agar flakes are more difficult to dissolve, but the powder dissolves almost immediately. And then you could either take some of that milk, or I have a little bit of water that I'm going to dissolve the kuzu in. And the kind of cardinal rule with kuzu is that you put cool water with it, just like cornstarch, instead of warm water or hot water to make it dissolve. The hot water would make it clump up and just kind of turn into these little rocks, which of course we don't want. I've got some strawberry seeds in here, but that's okay. And after the milk has come up to a boil, I'll just let it simmer for a minute or so, and I'll add the kuzu, and you'll see right away that the kuzu will thicken up it'll thicken up the milk. You won't really see the milk gel up the way it's going to in the refrigerator, because the agar does need to come to room temperature to start gelling the liquid. But you should probably see the effect of the kuzu, which is like thickening. So agar's kind of a gelling agent like gelatin, and kuzu is more of a thickening agent, more like cornstarch or arrowroot. Okay, so I am going to let that simmer a bit, and meanwhile I'm going to blend up the cashews to kind of give this thickness. And again, if you want to just use a can of coconut milk full fat with a little water added to get 2 cups, you can probably just avoid using the cashews. And probably can't see this, but it's okay. I'm just going to blend that up in a moment. You can see it? Okay. All of a sudden that can really kind of go crazy, out of control. So I turned it off, and I'm going to add the kuzu while I'm whisking. If you have a little left, you can kind of put it out with your finger. And while this simmers, the kuzu will thicken up. You do need to, even though the kuzu is dissolved, it does need to cook for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Otherwise, you'll get a starchy taste to the dessert. That happened to me once where I thought it was dissolved, but it actually wasn't cooked in yet. It's just like if you're making a gravy with flour. You do need to cook the flour in so that it's doesn't have that starchy taste. So let's see, while this is coming back up to a simmer, I'm gonna bring this back so I can just, well, actually I like to blend, turn that off again, blend the cashews first. So close your ears, it's gonna be loud. Okay, so those cashews should be nice and smooth in there. And I guess we'll add the strawberries. Usually I slice them up, but I figured that to measure them, but I'm not too worried about exact measurements for the strawberries. So I'm putting in the maple syrup, the strawberries, and I've got some pure vanilla extract, and just a pinch of Himalayan salt or sea salt. Some kind of salt will help enhance the flavors. I think that's all I have. So I'm going to start on. Okay. Then I want to combine these two. This liquid, of course, is very, very hot. So I'm kind of reluctant to, I don't want to really cook the strawberries so much because it will change the color. What you could do if you wanted to be really sensitive to the strawberries is you could put this over an ice bath to chill it really quickly, but the problem with that it would start to gel. So I'm just going to take it out of the pot, which is super hot. It's over here. Okay. I'll let that cool slightly, and then we'll combine it just right in the blender. I think will be fine. Nelson, do you think you could get me a little bit of mint for the garnish? So I'll go ahead and add this. Hopefully I don't sacrifice the color too much of the fresh strawberries. I'll just blend this one more time on low to combine these two mixtures separately. The reason why I wanted to do these two mixtures separately, the one on the stove and the one in the blender, is so I wouldn't have all of the milk being heated to a boil. We only needed part of it to get the thickener processed. So I do have some in the refrigerator from yesterday that I'll show you, but now is the fun part where you can put this into your favorite dessert cups. And chill this in the refrigerator. You could cover these with a little bit of plastic wrap. So whatever sizes you think you're going to want. I just put some in one of these glasses to show you how you could make a fun dessert for, for dinner time. And let me go get the one from yesterday. So kind of interesting. This one, I thought I put more strawberries in the one today, but this one looks like it has more strawberries, doesn't it? And garnish with a little bit of fresh strawberry. I'm trying to think of some of the strawberry desserts that we used to make growing up when we would get all the strawberries. I think one of my favorite desserts wasn't strawberry shortcake. I don't really like biscuits, so it wasn't that. I loved strawberries on top of homemade vanilla ice cream. That was amazing. Strawberry with homemade whipped cream. Let's see. I know there's something I'm missing. I know we tried doing strawberry bread, strawberry pie, strawberry tart. Strawberry jam. That was one of my very favorites that I used to make with my mother. So let's see. I can do this. I can put some. And with these, if you wanted to do like a layered parfait, that would be really fun. You could take some whipped up coconut cream or some cashew cream, and you could do maybe one layer of strawberry followed by, you'd have to refrigerate that for about 30 minutes and then add a layer of cashew cream or coconut cream, refrigerate that for a little while, and then put some more of your strawberry in and just layer that a couple times. And we actually got some lemon balm here, but it's okay, it's fine. You put some mint or lemon balm just for decoration. It is edible. That's the only thing with garnishes. You just want to make sure it's edible, just in case somebody eats the garnish. That's a little big. Okay, so I wanted to tell you what's coming up in the Cooking Together subscription, and also to clarify something. So I have a newsletter that I send out about once a week or once every 10 days. That's just from my Cook, Love, Heal website. And you can go to the website and sign up for free. There's no charge. And I send you the latest in what's going on with us. And last week I had an article about earthing or grounding and the health benefits of that. And I sent you my latest recipes and what we did in last week's Cooking Together Live. So I always try to send you some kind of healthy seasonal recipe, as well as any other news that I have. And when you sign up for the newsletter, I send you a couple of free ebooks. One is health tips for creating balance in your life. And then the other one is healthy plant-based recipes that have some soups, salads, entrees, desserts. I think there's about maybe seven or eight recipes in there. And Anyway, so I hope that you'll subscribe to the newsletter if you don't already. And you want me to show this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see it better. I was going to show this in a minute, but yeah, I think these are going to be really, really delicious. I hope you'll try it. The other thing I want to tell you about is the subscription that I'm doing, which is called Cooking Together with Rachel Zierzo. And the whole idea behind Cooking Together, the subscription, is to get us all cooking together, making the same things, enjoying cooking in our own kitchens, but also doing it together as a community. And so I'm taking suggestions from everybody that's in the course as far as what their preferences are, what they want to learn about. Last month, the month of June, we did healthy French cooking for the whole week, for the whole month. And each week I sent out a different instructional video and recipe to try at home, as well as a health tip or an extra recipe that's like a healthy snack or dessert. And we meet on Fridays for an afternoon tea where you can come and ask questions. And I usually am talking about a book that I'm reading or a health tip. Last week I did a health tip about how you can exercise for a few seconds each hour and get more benefit than if you were to run an hour a day. It was a new study that came out from University of Texas in April. So anyway, I was talking about that and what you could do once an hour if you're sitting down at your computer working all day. Just getting up and doing a few seconds of activity over, each minute for 5 minutes. Anyway, it was a fascinating article to Nelson and I, and it's kind of been helpful for being quarantined and doing a lot of computer work to know what you can do to offset that. So anyway, the Cooking Together subscription's been going on since mid-April. We've had a different theme every month. And next month's theme is Asian cooking, which is very, very broad, I know. But I thought we would get started with that and kind of see what resonates with people. And then we could focus in a different month on something like Vietnamese cooking or Chinese cooking or Japanese cooking or Indian cooking. But we're going to start off with sushi and then move on to pad thai and stir fry and some other simple but really, really flavorful dishes that you can make with seasonal ingredients. So I hope you'll join us. That Cooking Together subscription, you can read all about it. If you go to cookloveheal.com, on the very top there's a banner that you can read about, or you can click on it and read all about the course. You can see what we've done in the last 3 months in the course, and just try it out if you want to, be part of the fun cooking together from home. So thank you very much for tuning in. I have the recipe already on my blog for this. I put it up yesterday. I'll make sure we attach the recipe to this video so that you can get it right away. And please sign up for our free newsletter and check out Cooking Together. And I hope that we can be together again next Wednesday. So thank you for watching, and enjoy your strawberry panna cotta with fresh fruit.